Good afternoon, everyone. This is Akshay Oke. I'm a co-founder of LeazeOn Private Limited. A lot of our earlier panelists and speakers spoke about the inventory management, the accounts payable, and various challenges that we face as a part of the retail industry, right? So today, I'm going to speak more about the other aspects of retail industry, especially focusing around the leasing aspect of the entire retail industry. We all know that leasing plays a very important role in actually capturing one of the key performance indicators of any store, since we are in the retail space here. So what we did is we kind of did a survey amongst all our clients, about 300 plus clients, and we tried to comprehend what are the key challenges that everyone is facing, not only from the contract management perspective, but also from the lease accounting perspective, and how we are trying to resolve all these challenges in maneuvering all these lease agreements related challenges. Yeah. So everyone in the retail industry is pretty aware that leasing is the only solution from the flexibility perspective, from the scalability perspective. A lot of decisions are taken based on your lease rentals, right? Majority of the cost of your P&L is rent nowadays. So when we did a survey and when we read the annual reports of the companies who are listed, we figured out that almost every company spends on an average 10 to 12% rent cost as compared to the percentage of sales. In some of the clients, we have also figured out that it is not only 10 to 12%, but it has reached up to 18 to 20% of the sales amount. And as a CFO, it becomes a very important challenge for all of us to track what is the rent amount that I'm spending, which stores are profitable, what is my sales per square feet, etc., etc. So my rent KPIs are very important from all the CFO's perspective to manage the profitability of each store and taking the decisions whether to relocate that store, whether to continue that store, whether to terminate that store, etc., etc., right? So as a CFO, you cannot just ignore the lease agreement, the lease rent, which is payable to each and every lessor. Apart from that, there are a lot of complex agreements that retail industry structure with respect to the lessor. They have to carry out a lot of leasehold improvements in a particular store to make it more attractive, and hence the rent-free period comes into picture. There are rent waivers that everyone must have encountered in the COVID period. They must have negotiated very hardly with the lessors to waive off the rent. We have also seen a very complex agreements where your rent amount is not only fixed portion, but it is also variable based on certain percentage of sales. In some of our clients, we have also seen that the percentage is dependent on various revenue streams. So it could be your ticket sales, it could be food and beverages, it could be the revenue which you are generating out of your advertisement. So it becomes imperative for all the CFOs, the finance controllers, to track all these lease agreements closely in order to find out the KPIs and the operating costs, which is one of the key factors of managing the P&L. And hence the technology in capturing all these lease data becomes imperative for the effective functioning of any CFO for that matter. So what we did is we kind of bifurcated the challenges that every finance function faces while navigating through these lease agreements. So the first portion is relating to the contract management, and second portion is relating to the lease accounting that we encounter while following the new lease accounting standard under IFRS 16 or Ind AS 116. So the first challenge that we have come across while speaking to many CFOs is timely communication of new stores. So all these CFOs are sitting in the corporate office, and then there are hundreds of stores located in India, outside India. The common challenge that every finance function faces is nobody is aware about when the store is opened, when it has started functioning, what is the rent-free period, and at what period the finance team has to actually process the rent payment, right? Has anyone faced that issue in the room? Has anyone faced? Yeah, we could see some hands. So when we get queries, a lot of people ask me that the contract was executed 6 months back, and now we have come to know that, okay, there is a signed contract, and now we have to pay the lump sum rent for last 6 months. So a lot of challenges in the internal control system arise because of non-timely communication of the newly opened stores from the business teams to the finance team. The second is tracking of key parameters. So it would be what would be the live contracts, right? When is the escalation of rent happening so that the finance team is equipped enough to process those additional rent payments. Then when is the contract expiring, because the administration team needs to be kind of quick enough to go ahead and negotiate the lease rentals for the extended period. And lastly, the contract modifications. Because in the retail industry, we have seen there are so many modifications that happen based on the business and basically the flexibility at which the retail store operates. So all this tracking becomes very important from the finance function in order to correctly account for the lease rent details. The third is central repository of all the lease contracts. Often while auditing, you must have faced that challenge that you do not have a pool of all those signed executed contracts in one place. Some are with the secretarial team, some are with the legal team, some are with the admin team, etc. So because a lot of companies still maintain the data in Excel, they do not have a repository of all these contracts. And then at the time when it is required, you have to search certain terms of the contract. Everyone starts searching, "Arey, mera contract kidhar hai?" So these are the important challenges which each and every retail company faces. And lastly, the provisioning part, the invoicing part, the payment part, and the reconciliation between what was due and what is actually paid. So a lot of times you must have already faced that the invoices from the lessor do not come in time. So it becomes challenging situation from the controller and the CFO perspective, whether the timely provisioning has been made and whether my monthly MIS goes right by doing this provision. Then when the invoice comes, whether the invoice is booked appropriately and the provision is reversed. And the last important part is whether the amount paid is reconciling with what was amount due with each of the lessors. In addition to that, since we all deal with the property leases, most of the properties are jointly owned, right, by 2 or more lessors. So whether the correct TDS provisioning is being made, whether correct GST has been processed, all these complications arise if you are still maintaining the data relating to the lease in Excel. So these are some of the challenges that every retail company faces from the contract management perspective after we spoke to almost 300 plus companies. In addition to that, because of this IFRS 16 compliance or Ind AS 116 compliance, a lot of companies are still facing challenges with respect to the accounting relating to Ind AS 116, generating the journal entries, calculations, as well as the disclosures which are required as per your financial statements. The common challenge that we have come across is, it's very easy to do the initial accounting of IFRS 16 or Ind AS 116 in Excel. But whenever there are contract modifications, terminations, changes in estimates, it becomes very difficult to maneuver that Excel file and reach to a proper accounting calculations. That is why version-wise data is maintained. A lot of manual errors happen during these changes in the versions, etc. Second is there is a lot of dependency on the Excel sheet. So in the last presentation, we saw that the Excel file may go corrupt. The third thing is, whenever any Excel file working is done, it is dependent on a very person-specific judgment and working style. So we have got so many inquiries from the client that a particular person was preparing the calculation and that the person has left the organization, right? And now we don't know how to do about it, and we have a financial closure. So that is where again you are required to depend on a comprehensive and robust accounting system which is not person driven but which is a process driven. Next thing is handling large volumes of contract. So one of our client was handling 30,000 lease contracts in Excel. I'm still not sure how they were managing such a large volume of data, maintaining in Excel, all these calculations, changes, modifications, terminations, etc. So it is bound that that Excel file will not be able to handle such large volumes of data. So it is imperative for such companies having more than 50, 100 leases to find some automated solution around this handling of large volumes of data. The next is the year-end disclosures. Often during auditing, most of us are listed companies here. Day by day, our deadlines are getting crunched. Audit committees are putting pressure to announce the results much earlier. Earlier, even though there is a mandate of 60 days annually, a lot of companies still declare their results in April. So it becomes very important from the CFO function that you get some automated solution wherein you just input the data and all the calculations, your journal entries, and all your disclosures are generated promptly, which will help you in basically presenting your financial year-end disclosures. Then the next thing is tracking of your leases based on your location, cost center, profitability, because it becomes very important for any CFO to take a decision based on the locality, the store, and the location of a particular lease contract. And the last one is this Excel file kind of lacks audit control or audit trail for that matter. So everyone knows that if I do something wrong, I can put a blame on somebody else that mujhe data hi galti se mila, the contract was wrong, something sort of that. So there is no audit trail as such when it comes to an Excel file. In addition to that, there are so many other accounting aspects which are relating to this lease accounting. For example, when you pay interest-free security deposits to your lessor, you have to discount that, do the unwinding of interest income, present it as a part of ROE asset. Then you have a deferred tax complication in addition to the financial instruments, right? Because we all know that the rent expenditure, that is a rent payment will be allowed from an income tax perspective, and all these IFRS 16 or Ind AS 116 calculations will be disallowed. So the another complication arises whenever there are other accounting standards trying to marry with the leasing standard. So considering all these scenarios of contract management and managing the accounting and managing the seamless workflow, doing a maker-checker concept, presenting all the results at both standalone level and the consolidated level, maintaining the audit trail, we tried to figure out that, okay, now it's the best time to kind of develop a robust software which will cater to this entire gamut of lease contract management and lease accounting, where all the CFOs can focus on generating their key performance indicators and metrics relating to the rent, and also manage the contracts where they can actually track what is the amount due, what is paid, when is the modification done, when is the rent escalating, when it is expiring. So not only accounting, but the management is also an important aspect from the finance function. So that is where we developed a robust software called LeazeOn way back in 2018, even when the accounting standard was not there in place globally and in India. So LeazeOn is one of the pioneers of developing a robust software on lease contract management and accounting. I'm one of the co-founders, but the other co-founders are from software background. I'm a chartered accountant by profession. So combined, we have average experience of more than 25 years in the field of financial reporting and developing the tech-enabled solutions around financial reporting and management. The software is quite robust enough. It has been in existence for more than 5 years, and it has been audited by all large firms in India, outside India. It is currently used by more than 300 multinational companies in India, outside India, with more than 100,000 leases under the management. So it's not a small company at all. All the major players are using this software for managing their lease contracts as well as the accounting. In addition to that, we are compliant with all the regulatory aspects like SOC 1, SOC 2, VAPT, ISO 27001, etc. So just to give you a flavor, some of the clients that are using this software are Carrot Lane, Paperfry, Metro, Kaya. They are in the room right now. Vijay Sales, Ethos, Eat Sure, Lifestyle, PVR Cinemas, First Fry, Jockey. So a lot of multinational companies are using LeazeOn software for managing their contracts, lease contracts, as well as the accounting. So these are not only the retail, but some of the other large companies who are using in the manufacture sector and NBFC sectors are a lot of companies from Aditya Birla Group like Ultratech Cement and Grasim Paints Division. Then we are working with ITC, Bharat Forge, Asian Paints, Nerolac, NPCI, Zepto, PhysicsWala, etc. So LeazeOn has been a trusted brand for over more than 5 years for managing their entire lease portfolio along with the accounting, just to ensure that CFOs have the robust solution in hand to navigate all lease-related challenges. I'll just end my presentation here, and if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer all those questions.